Good morning, everyone. We have Ms. Nikita Sharma and Mr. Mudit Sood as our learned judge for this court competition. And let me introduce you first with Nikita Sharma ji. Now, Ms. Nikita Sharma ji, am I audible to everyone? Okay. So Miss Nikita Sharma, she is practicing since from last 16 years, and she mainly practices in the areas of she mainly practices in the criminal, civil, and constitutional areas, and major panels she holds as pro bono counsel on criminal arguing panel on Delhi High Court Legal Service Authority and Rail and Development Authority. Professional achievement she have acquittal and reported judgment in both criminal and civil matters. Now I'll introduce our second judge, Mr. Mudit Sood. So Mr. Mudit Sood is a practicing advocate. So he is a practicing advocate having a practice in the District Court, High Court, and the Supreme Court of India. Mudit Sood completed his BA LLB from CS University, Meerut, and got involved with the Bar Council of Delhi in 2015 and cleared his All India Bar examination. Mudit Soodji became the member of Bar Council of Delhi, Bar Council of India, and also the member of Delhi Court Bar Association. Till date, he handled cases like special leave petition, writ, civil suit, criminal matters, appeal, cybercrime matters, arbitration, real estate, IPR, and service matters. Mudit Sood brought us the Supreme Court landmark judgment in Kusum Hosora, where the Honorable Court had widened the scope law by striking down the word male, adult male from the provision of Domestic Violence Act. And he has been also on the panel of many NC and financial institutions. So now my learned judges may start with the competition. The prosecution may start the competition now as, as per the directions of the honorable judges.
Please start.
Pleasant morning. Council would like to seek permission to collectively address the bench as your lordship. Much obliged. Council would like to seek permission to begin with the issues or need to put the facts in brief.
Yes, please.
Facts, sir.
Please start.
Council begins with the summary of the facts. On 25th Feb 2015, there was a secret information to the special force of the police that two people are collectively carrying the huge consignment of fake Indian currency notes from Malda to Delhi by Faraka Express. Accordingly, police reached on the concerned platform and arrested both the accused on the time, and further in the investigation they revealed various other names that were included in the criminal conspiracy of the bomb blast over the army convoy. Further, this case deals with the acquisition over the accused and punishment regarding that. Counsel would like to begin with the arguments.
Yes, sir.
Much obliged, Your Lordship. Council 1 would deal with two issues, that is whether all the evidences and witnesses produced before this honorable court are the reliable or of high quality, and whether the accused are liable under section 120B, 121 and 123 of the Indian Penal Code 1860. Rest two issues will be further dealt by the council too. According to the issue 1, it is most humbly submitted before this honorable court that the accused Samir, Monu, and Kalu Mama were accused under section 120B, 121, and 123 of Indian Penal Code, and they are, according to the given set of facts, that police has taken the necessary steps subsequently to successfully stop the criminal conspiracy for the bomb blast that was supposed to be happened over the army convoy. For this issue is further dealt in three sub-issues: that whether the report produced by the CFSL by the prosecution agency had any delay, whether there was any possibility of tempering the fake Indian currency notes, and whether the report sent by CFSL could be termed as credible. All three sub-issues are dealt in further issues. The sub-issue 1 states that whether there was any delay in sending the reports to the CFSL by the prosecution agency. It is humbly submitted before this honorable court that immediately after recovering the fake Indian currency notes from the accused, the police sent them to the Central Forensic Science Laboratory for the examination. It was a subsequent act done without any delay, which is clearly mentioned in the proposition provided. It was also said that fake Indian currency notes were examined without any least possible delay. According to the Matloob versus State, it has been led clearly that the Delhi High Court rule, according to order Part 3, Chapter 18B, which says that any opinion of criminal chemical examination or any examination should be forwarded without the least delay. According to this, delay, if any case, explained by the prosecution. Similarly, in the given case, sample to the CFSL in the case were dispatched about a month before the subsequent was seized, and no explanation for such time is required because it was a reasonable time on the record. The prescribed promotion appeared to be the lagging in this case, so there is no question of delay in sending the samples to CFSL. After seizures, the accused person, also, the memo was prepared accordingly, and it was corroborated with the similar facts provided in the case of above stated. The
Please come to
regarding
the FIR. Please come to the FIR.
Yes, ma'am.
How
Yes, ma'am.
the accused number 1 was arrested for the charges of the recovery of fake currency. How has the sections from the Unlawful Activities Act been added into the FIR? The content of the FIR is only limited to the fake currency. Can you explain that?
Your Lordship, I couldn't get you clearly. Can you please repeat it once?
The FIR was registered on the same day, on the day on which the accused number 1, Samir, was arrested and the recovery of the fake currency was made. And the content of the FIR is only limited to the fake currency notes. So how has the Unlawful Activities Act section been invoked in the FIR? On what basis?
Your Lordship, it was invoked over the further investigation that was done by the NIA and the special forces of the police department. When they examined both the accused, Samir and Monu, they further told us about this conspiracy and also revealed the name of other accused, that was Kalu Mama. He was in direct contact with the further people who were included in the criminal conspiracy. So it was invoked by the further investigation.
Yes, you may proceed with the issues.
Much obliged, Your Lordship. As the council previously stated that there was no delay in receiving the report from the CFSL, it can easily be stated or proved by, according to the case of Saira Banu versus State, that incomplete police report was also even preferable, also explanatory for the delay in getting CFSL report is not possible, that applicant is entitled to the bail under section 167, subsection 2 of CRPC. It is clearly mentioned here. It is according to the case of Saira Banu versus State. Also, it has been held by the Honorable Court in the case of Mukesh Bhatia versus Ram Gopal Gupta that the court already observed many previous cases that where CFSL is normally take 4 or 5 years to obtain the report, but in the given case, it was said that the report was sent without any delay because it is a matter of national security. So there could be no question arised over the delay on this issue. Council moves to the sub issue 2, which states that whether there was any possibility of tempering the fake Indian currency notes. It is hereby contended before this honorable court that the tempering of note cannot be happened because it was immediately sent to CFSL for the examination after the seizure, an item in presence of the independent witnesses. The non-examination of independent witness per se could not be ground to discard this testimony, although the examination of independent witness happened. The photographs of the fake Indian currency notes were also taken without any delay. The search and seizure of the fake Indian currency notes carried out in the presence of independent witness. So it is clearly evident that there could be no tempering in the fake Indian currency notes. The presence of this independent witnesses on the railway platform clearly substantiates the fact that the seizure had been carried out on their presence, and there is no room left for the allegation of the tempering of the fake Indian currency notes over the police or special forces. If there could be a question of non-examination of independent witnesses, this cannot even discard the testimony of police officials because they are the police officials hired by appointed by the government over their merits and their trustworthiness, because it is their job to perform this work and they do with full capacity. According to the case of Baldev Singh versus the state of Haryana, the court clearly said that there is no legal proposition that evidence of the police official, unless supported by the independent evidence, is unworth of acceptance. Also, according to the case, it is clearly mentioned that
Please come to the substantial case of the prosecution made against the accused. Please come to the substantial case of the prosecution made against the accused. And in the FIR was dated of the same date on which accused number 1 was arrested. The day of arrest and the contents of the FIR are only limited to the fake currency. So the argument of the prosecution that it links to the unlawful to the other sedition charges of the other accused is not acceptable to this court. And you can further your argument on this, but you have not explained this, explained it that how in the FIR unlawful activities section has been invoked, because till the point the FIR was registered, only the fake currency notes were recovered from Samir.
Your Lordship, as the council previously stated, that the invocation of other sedition charges, other charges, were done after the further investigation by NIA, and this would be further dealt by my co-counsel in other two issues. So, may the council one move to the further issues. May the council, Your Lordship.
Yes, please.
Much obliged. So, as the council previously stated, that there was no firm infirmity that could be attached to the testimony of the police official merely because they belong to police forces and could cause any tempering to the fake Indian currency notes. If the question would arise, so it can be clearly stated or proved by the case of Girja Prasad versus state of Madhya Pradesh. It was held in the judgment that that the proposition does not lay down the correct law point on it well settled, and witness should not be relied upon the evidences cannot accept unless it corroborated the material particularly by independent evidences. So this presumption that the person act honestly and same implies in the case of police officials in the manner like to a common man, like a person is expected to speak the truth in the court as the witness or testimony. It is the same presumption put forward before the police officials. Council would like to move on sub issue 3, where it is stated that whether the report sent by the CFSL could be termed as credible. It is herein most humbly submitted before the Honorable Court that the report of the CFSL is more generous and convincing, also reliable and trustworthy piece of evidence that could prove the chain of the evidences. And also, fake Indian currency notes were of high quality and alleged notes are fake. It has clearly been proved by the CFSL report. The report cannot be denied because it is a government organization which proves and provides its work with the higher capacity and high quality. The examination of CFSL is the expert witness. The report of the CFSL is credible because the basis of the information of the judgment is regarded questionable and examination of such is carried by the expert. In the case of Himachal Pradesh versus Jailal and others, it is observed by the Honorable Apex Court that the expert is not a witness of fact, but his evidences is really of advisory character because he is working under the higher authority of CFSL, and it is the duty of expert witness to furnish the judge with the necessary scientific criteria, which is clearly done in the given case by the CFSL expert to the Honorable Court. Herein, it is submitted before this Honorable Court that the report by the CFSL is reliable upon and also relevant piece of evidences. Also, the content to be taken are correct and possible, and the report is admissible. The report of CFSL is taken as
Please come to the other accused and the charges against them, the unlawful activities and the bomb blast. Please come to that.
yes, Your Lordship. The other charges and the charges that the council one is dealing comes within the issue 2, that the whether accused are liable under section 120b, 121 and 123 of the Indian Penal Code 1860. The prosecution humbly submitted before this honorable court that both the accused are liable under section 120b, 121 and 123 of Indian Penal Code 1860 as initially by the deadline of the charges, that further proceeding to the 120b and ascertains the claim submitted before them. This issue is further dealt in two sub-issues, that they are accused are guilty for waging war against the government of India, and sub issue 2 is accused are guilty of criminal conspiracy. Accused, sub issue 1 deals as accused are guilty for waging war against the government of India. According to section 1 of section 121 of Indian Penal Code 1860, it is clearly laid that whoever wages the war against the government of India or attempts to wage the war or abates to the waging of the war shall be punished with death or imprisonment of life and shall also be liable to fine. Under section 121 of Indian Penal Code 1860, there are few essentials of the offense that are need to be fulfilled, that are waged a war, attempt to it, abate the war, or that war must be against the state. In the given case, carrying the fake Indian currency note for a purpose of the bomb blast is a war, waged war against the state, because blasting a bomb in a state over any place, or whether it is an army convoy or any other place, is a waged war over the state. So here all the three essentials are fulfilled by the accused, so they are held under, they are liable under section 121 of the Indian Penal Code 1860. Also, according to Hazrat
How do you correlate that the other accused will be using this money for the wage purpose or for the bomb blast?
Your Lordship, it can be contended by the chain of the evidences, because they are connected with Kalu Mama, who is further connected with further people who are dealing with this criminal conspiracy, who will further lead it and use that money for this bomb blast activity that was supposed to be happened, that stopped. This cannot be explained with one instance, but the chain is clearly and evident in itself that this has to be this money, fake Indian currency notes were to be used for the bomb blast.
What are the evidence for that?
Your Lordship, the fake Indian currency was carried by both the accused under the guidance of Kalu Mama, who was further connected with the upper people who planned this bomb blast. So this chain of evidences creates the loop that both the accused are uh, carrying the notes for the bomb blast activity. This can clearly and evidently prove that this money was to be used for the bomb blast, and both the accused were the part of this criminal conspiracy, as they were the one who carried this fake currency from Malda to New Delhi by Farka Express. May the council continue with the issue?
Yes, please.
Much obliged. As the council previously stated, the essentials for section 121, or it can be also proved and the put forward by the case of Hazrat Mohani versus Emperor. It was held that waging war is an attempt to accomplish by the violence of the purpose of public nature. It is a deliberate attack upon the government forces and government officials, which is a criminal act and must be and is punishable. It cannot create a situation which the government can compel and choose arbitration between them and will settle the matter. It is a serious damage to the public at large. Moreover, Section 123 lays down that whoever any act or by any illegal omission conceals the existence of the design of the war, or further knowing to be likely to such concealment of the waging war, shall be punished with the imprisonment of either description of a term or may extend to a term 10 years, and shall also be liable for the fine. According to the state and Navjot Sandhu, the court said that waging war against the government is referred and implied by the person arraying himself or working or is a part of performing such activity will be included in the waging war of against the state according to section 123. So in the given case, both the accused were the part of this activity to fulfill the requirements that were required for the bomb blast. So they both are held under uh, both are held under section 123. Sub issue 2 states that accused are not guilty for accused are guilty for criminal conspiracy. Criminal conspiracy is an offense punishable under section 120b and defined under section 120a of IPC, where two or more person agrees to do or cause to be done an illegal act or any act which is illegal by or performed by any illegal means, or such as agreement is designated or a criminal conspiracy, provided that there is no agreement except the agreement to commit the offense shall amount to criminal conspiracy. According to the definition described, both the accused were a part of this agreement to commit an offense under according to the definition and are held under the criminal conspiracy. According to the case of Muhammad Khalid versus State of West Bengal and Devendra Pal Singh versus the State of Delhi, the apex court, after
What
referring to
is
the
Miss Counsel? What is that one evidence with the prosecution that establishes criminal conspiracy?
Your Lordship, criminal conspiracy directly leads to a conspiracy that is done against the state in the given case. So the bomb blast that to be happened over the army convoy is a threat over the national security, and it would turn into a criminal conspiracy. So this chain of act clearly states and covers the area or the scope of criminal conspiracy. So both the accused are held liable under section 120b for criminal conspiracy against the state.
How would the prosecution establish criminal conspiracy? That is my question. With what is it? What is that one evidence?
Your Lordship, criminal conspiracy in the given case can be established according to the definition of the criminal conspiracy state in the Indian Penal Code 1860, where it need to fulfill the two ingredients as an illegal act or any act which is of some basis that the agreement is done over the parties to
How would
cause
you
any.
how would you link the call records with this section? The call records of the accused with this section? How the prosecution linked the call records of the accused, CDR, with the offense of criminal conspiracy?
Your Lordship, counsel would require 1 minute to move to the records. Just provide me 1 minute.
Yes.
Much obliged.
Is there any issue?
Your Lordship,
Yes.
Your Lordship, location of. May the counsel continue?
Yes.
Your Lordship, the location of mobile of all the accused, Samir, Monu, and further the names that were out, like Kalu Mama and Peter and Sohil, all these were in touch, with constant touch with all of them. As it is also stated in the proposition that is provided, that Samir was in constant touch with Monu, Kalu Mama, and Monu was always in constant touch with Samir, Kalu Mama, Peter, and all three of them were in constant touch with each other. And Kalu Mama was also in touch with another number, which was later identified as the number of Sohail, which is also contended in further in the proposition that he was the one who was planning the bomb blast over the convoy. All this chain of events provides us that all three of them are further interlinked and are always in constant touch with each other, and must and then further caught with fake Indian currency notes, which they further explained as they it was further explained that those fake Indian currency notes were to be used for bomb blast over the army convoy. All these chain of events relates and provides the basis for proving that all the cues were the part for criminal conspiracy that was about to be happened. May the counsel proceed?
Yes. Yes.
Much obliged, your lordship. As the counsel was previously stating about criminal conspiracy, it can be stated by the case of Balakrishna Pillai versus state. It was held that it makes a person liable for conspiracy. It is not that the offender ought to have been present for from the very beginning or even the during the period of entire conspiracy. So in the given case, Samir and Monu were present, and they were the medium to provide the fake Indian currency notes for the establishment of the conspiracy. And hereby, it is clearly explained and established that the criminal conspiracy was done by them. So, the council would like to uh, put forward this proposal or memo before this honorable court that the accused were liable under section 120b, 121, 122, and section 123 of Indian Penal Code 1860. Further issues will be dealt by the co-counsel. May the co-counsel proceed, your lordship?
Yes, please.
Much obliged, your lordship. Counsel bows before the bench. May it please the court. This is the counsel appearing on behalf of prosecution in the case of State NIA versus Samir and others. If it please the court, may the counsel address the bench as your lordship. Much
Yes.
obliged, your lordship. Your lordship, my submission will address the issue whether the accused are guilty under section 489B and 489C of IPC 1860. It is humbly submitted before the Honorable Court that the accused are guilty for the offences charged under Section 489B and 489C of IPC. As per the Section 489B, whoever sells to or buys or receives from any other person, otherwise traffics in or use as a genuine any fraud or counterfeit currency to bank note, knowing or having reason to believe that same to be forged or counterfeit, shall be punished with imprisonment of life or with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 10 years and shall also be liable to fine. As per the section 489C, whoever has in his possession any forged or counterfeit currency note or bank note knowing or
Our time is over for the prosecution. Each team, defense and prosecution, have 30 minutes, and the prosecution time is over now. Now it's the discretion of the court whether you want to extend this further or not. But we have a time limit also to make sure that we do it according to that. We
Just grant her 1 minute more, grace of 1
Sure.
minute. You complete this
Give.
point and you can proceed.
Sure.
Let it be point.
Complete your point.
as per in the given case, the essential of the essential of the section
I just थोड़ा बहुत clear कर देती हूँ.
489B are selling or buying or receiving any person or otherwise trafficking currency note, any forged counterfeit currency note or bank note, knowing or having reason to believe that such note was forged or counterfeit. And in the present case, the accused concealed the counterfeit note inside the special cavity of the bag. This shows that they were trying to hide it. Also, as mentioned by my co-counsel, we received proper evidence from CFSL that
Miss Counsel, we have understood your point. Now let us move to defense. We have limited time.
much obliged.
Right.
The council solicits to begin. Council seeks permission to address the bench collectively as a lordship.
Yes, please.
Much obliged, your lordship. I'm Council 1 and along with my Council 2, and we are representing the defense in the matter of state versus Sameer, Monu and others. I shall be speaking for the first 15 minutes on the first and second issue, and my co-counsel consequently will be speaking on the other two issues for the another 15 minutes. With the permission, the council may start with the first issue. The council seeks permission to start
Yes,
with the first
yes,
issue.
that's fine.
Much obliged, your lordship. The first issue is whether the accused have committed an offense of criminal conspiracy. And the council would be elaborating and explaining this issue in three key submissions: that the acts of respondent do not amount to criminal conspiracy, that the respondents did not have mens rea while or before carrying FICN, and thirdly, mere CDR does not establish offense of criminal conspiracy. It is most humbly contended that respondents are not guilty for committing the crime of criminal conspiracy, starting with the first submission that the acts of respondents do not amount to criminal conspiracy. Under Section 120A of IPC, criminal conspiracy is defined as when two or more persons agree to do or cause to do. There must be an agreement between persons who are alleged to conspire, and that agreement should be for doing an illegal act. Whereas in the instant case, your lordship, there is no agreement between two or more persons who are alleged to conspire. The very essential ingredient of proving criminal conspiracy is to show agreement between two or more persons who are alleged to conspire, and this is irrespective of further consideration whether or not the offense is actually committed. Agreement is the rock bottom of the offense and of criminal conspiracy under Section 120. And your lordship, there was no agreement between the accused which took place in the instant case, and there is no factual circumstances which are mentioned in the facts as to constitute that an agreement did take place. It is just a mere assumption of the prosecution, but nowhere it could be asserted that the acts of the respondents were to plot a conspiracy in order to commit any illegal act, and there has been no agreement to do any illegal act. The prosecution did not show direct evidence against the conspiracy, but merely circumstantial evidences. And the word caution lies in the matter is that too much of reliance could not be put on the circumstantial evidence, and it was held in and so was held in Mohanlal versus State of Uttar Pradesh. Further, your lordship, there is no illegal act to be done upon the agreement, and an act is said to be illegal which amounts to an offense prohibited by law. The charge of conspiracy cannot be merely made on the basis.
How do you explain or how do you deny the recovery of the fake currency note with the accused? 1 and
Uh,
2?
Your Lordship, the recovery of FICN was found with the accused, which will be dealt by me in my further arguments, and it will be clear. The question of the Your Lordship would be clear by the further arguments of the counsel. Yeah. Your Lordship, the act done by the accused as alleged by the prosecution merely on the basis of investigation with no hardcore materialistic evidence that there was a terrorist act conspired by the accused cannot be taken into consideration because in the statements given by the accused under section 161 of CRPC clearly shows that they are not guilty and all the charges were pressed as per their investigation reports, which with the lacunas in their investigation. Further, respondents did not participate in order to commit a crime. Mere presence without proof of any act or omission done to facilitate the offense or at least without proof of the existence of common intention will not be sufficient to convict under Section 34. The respondent had no common intention neither to use FICNs or to be involved in any criminal act like wagering war, as the prosecution has merely relied on the circumstantial evidence and have not corroborated for the same. There has been no establishment of the fact that there was active participation in such alleged crime of conspiracy or terrorist act. Your Lordship, statements made by Sohail uh, that he had called him I mean the accused Samir and said that there was some conspiracy to be disrupt the plan and stated that दुल्हन की विदाई का वक्त बदलना है and A3 asked him to calm down and said nothing would happen and he should focus on the rally. The bench may refer to Exhibit 7 statement by D3 in the moot proposition, and this conversation was in regard to organizational rally and not related to any illegal act. It is clearly mentioned in the facts. Further, Your Lordship, the investigation report given by the Inspector Mr. Akash Singh and Superintendent of Police Mr. Rupender Singh has been prejudiced as it has not been examined and this will be prejudicial to the respondents. The police officer needs to bring the unvarnished truth to the case and not merely base his report on the gamut of witness statements without dwelling into the credibility of the same. Your Lordship, further, such reasonable doubt creates a gap between the fact and the respondents may have committed the crime and not give us conclusive proof regarding the crime to be must be committed. Hence, it is humbly submitted that the respondents cannot be convicted of for crime for the very reason. Coming to the second submission of the issue, whether the accused had mens rea to do an illegal act while or before carrying the FICN, it is humbly contended that the accused are falsely convicted with various charges under IPC and UAPA. The respondents A1 and A2 were allegedly found in
Yes,
possession of
yes.
FICN.
Counsel, now please explain the telephonic communication of accused number 1 with Peter, the deceased accused.
Your Lordship, it is the contention of the defense that the mere call details record is not does not prove that is does not prove that there was a conspiracy, as the identification of CDR is a crucial matter and proper identification for the same is required. The time and place and accuracy of the recordings must be proved by a competent witness, and the details must be properly identified, but in the instant case it was not been examined by the police, and it was not also proved that the SIM cards which they found were related to the accused in our case.
But is mens rea not an assumption?
Your Lordship,
What is mens rea? How could you conclude mens rea? Is it not an assumption based on the facts and circumstances of the case?
Your Lordship, the charges which were pressed against the accused by the state is completely vague because whatever charges they have whatever charges they have pressed is on the mere assumption by by the police and the NIA. But the statement clearly states that they were never in any such they were never involved in such act as they were uh, as as they were clearly your lordship the statement under exhibit 7 statement by the Monu, Samir and Kalu Mama, it is clearly proved that they were into a project for the benefit of the citizens as the and as Samir had attended a all India conference of youth. From there he got to know that they were passing policies which were completely vague, and in response to that Samir, Monu and Kalu, they all came together to take the initiative further, and for that purpose they required uh, uh, money, and they were collecting the money from across the countries like Bangladesh and Pakistan, and that money was with Samir at that time, and Kalu asked Samir and Monu to come with the money, and they were moving to the direction to the Kalu only, and then there they were held.
So you agree to you partially agree of the possession of the fake currency with accused number 1 and 2. The defense here is admitting the fact of possession of the fake currency with accused 1 and accused 2, right?
Yes,
Partial
Your Lordship.
partial admission of the facts.
Yes, Your Lordship. But mere possession does not make them. I mean, does not. Does not make them accused under section 16, 17, 18, or 20 of UAPA 1967.
Yes.
Uh, the council may proceed with this second issue.
Yes, please.
Much obliged. The second issue is whether the mere possession of FICN as opined by CSFL constitutes offences under Section 489 IPC or amounts to a terrorist act under UAPA. The respondent contends that in the instant case, the accused had never tried to put the counterfeit currency notes in circulation, which would invoke the penal provisions of Section 489B of IPC. It is also required to be noted that merely because the accused were found in the possession of counterfeit currency notes, they could not be held guilty of commission of offences under Section 121, 489A, 489B of IPC, and Section 16, 17, 18, 20 of UAPA. Therefore, the above submissions of prosecution cannot be accepted, and hence the same should be rejected. Starting with the first submission of this issue, whether the accused are liable for the offences of waging war against the Indian government, the respondent submits that if the investigating agency suspected a conspiracy to wage war, it was its bonded duty to search for evidence. It is not again correct to say that the case of waging war, if the case of waging war is founded entirely on the recovery of FICN and confessions made during the investigation by the accused A1, A2, etc., and that all that was necessary for the investigation. Your Lordship, in Mr. Hassan Khan versus State of Bihar, to convict a person under this section, it must not only be proved that the persons charged had planned to obtain an illegal position, but also that the seizure of an armory was also a part and parcel of the planned action. But in the instant case, throughout the investigation, there is not any mention of armory or illegal weapon as such. Then how could the prosecution charge the accused with the charge of Section 121 IPC? If the investigation agency suspected a conspiracy to wage war, it was its bonded duty to search for the evidence wherever it could be found, and not. I'm so sorry. Not content itself by conventional statements of the accused A2, A1, and all. Uh, Further, Your Lordship, the ingredients required to be proved for act to constitute an offence under Section 122 are there must be a collection of men, arms, and ammunition. Such a collection should be with the intention of either waging war or being prepared to wage a war. And thirdly, the participation of the accused in such a collection is required, and the war is to be waged war against the government of India. But in the instant case, it is not the it's not been established by the facts of the
How do you explain, Mr. Counsel? How do you explain that the fact of in the 161 statement, Samir said that he had to hand over the bag to Peter.
Your Lordship, that was during the investigation process, and we cannot say that what they
That is in the
stated at that time.
161 statement of Samir.
No, no, Your Lordship, no, Your Lordship. Under 161, the statement is completely different what they made later on. But at the initial stage of the investigation, they what they said cannot be admitted, and the admissibility of the facts at the different stages is being dealt by my co-counsel, and he would be
Yes.
clarifying the doubts of Your Lordship. And Your Lordship, as I was mentioning that there are few essentials which are to be which are to be meant, which are to be, but Your Lordship, it is not the basic essentials of the for the waging war is missing in the present case. Uh, Moving ahead with the second sub issue, whether the accused are liable under section 489B and 489C of the Indian Penal Code. As far as the conviction under section 489C IPC is concerned, except for the statement of the accused, there is nothing on the record to bring home the guilt, and therefore also accused could not have been convicted for the offences under section 489B IPC. There is no evidence. It is true that A1 and A2 were found with the fake currency notes, but from the above submitted arguments, it is clear that Mensria was not. Mensria was also missing. Therefore, they cannot be individually liable for commission of offence punishable under Section 489C IPC. And the last sub issue, as the time is the paucity of time is there, the council would like to conclude in few minutes, like 2 minutes.
What is the stand over the defense over section 201 charged in the FIR?
It was regarding the tampering of the evidence, and which has been dealt by my co-counsel, and he would be clarifying the doubts of Your Lordship. Much obliged, Your Lordship. The last sub issue, last submission is that that the accused are not liable under section 16, 17, 18, 20 of the UAPA 1971. The respondent most respectfully submits that accused are not liable of India. The competent authority cannot order for investigation under Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Also, Clause 4, Rule 6 of Investigation of High Quality Counterfeit Indian Currency Offences Rules 2013 says that in order to determine whether the act amounts to damage or an attempt to damage the monetary stability of India, the concerned authority shall, in addition to the condition.
May I speak for a minute, learned judges? Everyone is here are requested to switch on their camera. If you switch off your camera, I'll be removing out the person in that case. Make sure your cameras are on. We are recording this entire session.
Your Lordship, the council may continue with his arguments. As per the clause 4
Sorry
of
for
Rule 6 of-
interruption. Sorry for interruption, please. I'm requesting to all the members, kindly switch on your cameras, please. Please. I'm requesting to judges also. I'm requesting to participants also. Please. Please switch on your cameras, sir. Am I audible to all of you? Is there any technical issue? Then please let me know. Is there any technical issue? Please let me know.
All good.
Ma'am,
Please
everyone
switch
has
on
their
your
camera
cameras.
on. Everyone has their camera on.
Because recording is also going on, so please switch on your cameras. Please.
There are just two members in the defense side.
Okay.
Okay, Your Lordship, Clause 4 of Rule 6 of Investigation of High Quality Counterfeit Indian Currency Offences Rules of 2013 says that in order to determine whether the act amounts to damage or an attempt to damage the monetary stability of India, the concerned authority shall, in addition to the condition specified in Rule 5, shall also take into account and the conditions of that rule is not been fulfilled in the instant case. The conditions were whether the accused were previously involved in a case of counterfeit currency. Secondly, whether the accused belonged to a terrorist gang or organization, and thirdly, whether the accused
Excuse me, everyone. Please kindly switch on your camera. Otherwise, we'll be removing this everyone off.
Cameras are on.
Everyone, please switch
Actually,
on
the
your
cameras are on for everybody. We can see on our screen everybody. Every face is
Yes,
visible on
cameras.
the. I think something is wrong on your side. Nobody has switched off the camera. We are They are just visible on the members, the judges, everybody is visible. Nobody has been switching off the camera. I think something is wrong on your end. There are two from. There are continue.
Your Lordship, as I was mentioning that as per the investigation of high quality counterfeit Indian currency offences rules, all the conditions are not satisfied. Then how come the prosecution proceeded with the charges and pressed the charges against the accused? Also, the report of the CSFL was preliminary report and it was done. The bench may refer to para 17.9 of the moot proposition, wherein it's been mentioned that the disputed notes appear to be of high quality on random examination, and no concrete evidences were presented from the prosecution side. And on the lastly, the respondent post humbly submits that the accused are not guilty of any offences as charged by the investigation offences. And now my co-counsel would appear and he would present the rest two issues of the court. It was pleasure pleading before the lordship.
May it please the court. May it please the court.
Yes, please. Yes.
Much obliged, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, I will be dealing
No.
with the
Sir,
last two
you
issues.
are not audible. You need to be a bit louder, please.
Your Lordships, can you please confirm if I am audible?
Yes, better.
Okay. Much obliged, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, I will be dealing with the last two issues. The first my first issue is whether the statements made to police during custody are admissible in the court of law and can be made a basis for the conviction of the accused. And Your Lordship, my last issue is whether the accused can be held guilty of causing disappearance of evidence under Section 201 IPC. If the judges permits, the council may begin with the first, my third issue.
Yes, please.
Much obliged, Your Lordship. To start with the first issue, whether the statement made to police during custody are admissible in the court of law and can be made a basis for the conviction of the accused, the respondent, the defense, humbly submits that the statements made to police during custody cannot be made a basis to convict the accused. Your Lordships, Section 25 of the Indian Evidence Act 1872 is very important for this case. It says no confession made to a police officer shall be proved as against a person accused of any offense. So, under the Evidence Act, a confession made to a police officer under no circumstances is admissible in evidence against the any of the accused. Your Lordships, this section aims to jealously protect the rights of the accused against becoming the victim of their self-delusion. The logic behind of this provision is that the mind of the accused before he makes the confession might not be in a state of perfect equanimity and may not have been operated upon by fear or hope or by inducement. Therefore, Your Lordship, the provision excludes all statements of the incriminating nature made to a police officer, whether made before or after becoming an accused person. So, Your Lordship, I would like to cite an article from the Constitution of India also, Article 20, Clause 3 of the Indian Constitution. It clearly.
Please come to section 27 of the Evidence Act
Much obliged, Your Lordship.
and kindly explain that how it is not applicable in the discovery of facts from the accused.
Okay, much obliged, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, even if the prosecution argued that the statements made by that accused to the police are admissible under Section 27, on the contrary, the respondent most humbly submits that this Section 27 requires that statements made by the accused that lead to subsequent discovery or are subsequent discovery are admissible as evidence. But in the instant case, Your Lordship, uh, no subsequent discovery was associated, even if the prosecution argues that the mere CDR analysis may be considered as the discovery of facts. Again, the respondent contends that mere CDR analysis cannot be made a basis to execute the accused, at it had to be associated with a call voice records and a call interception, which was not performed out by the prosecution side, and
How do
accordingly.
you how do you link how do you link Peter with Kalu, Mama, and Samir? Both of them. Or how do
Uh,
you deny the links? You're a defense. How do you deny the link of Peter with both Kalu Mama and as well as Samir?
Much obliged, Your Lordship. To answer the Lordship's questions, this is clearly mentioned in the exhibit document, which was laid by defense witness, that is Kalu, that that they were only having the communication regarding their rally and the organization which was working to upliftment of the poor class people or the oppressed class people, but there was no such link um, which can prove that there was a conspiracy or any other, and it was also not opined by Kalu in their statement under section 161 of the CRPC.
So here you are admitting that Peter was known both to Kalu Mama as well as Samir. Peter was a common
No,
acquaintance of both Kalu Mama as well as Samir.
Your Lordship, they were acquitted. Your Lordship, they were acquainted, but they were only working with their organization, which where objective was to upliftment of the oppressed class society, and they were not doing any terrorist activities, or they were not indulged in any terrorist gang that has been charged against the accused by the prosecution side.
So the discovery of fact that I was mentioning from the
Yes, Your
statement
Lordship.
of 161 statement of Samir, where he names Peter, and which led to the arrest of Kalu, and Kalu also mentions Peter. So this is a connecting evidence. How do you now deny this?
Your Lordship, any statements made under Section 161 of the CRPC, or any statements given to the police officer during their investigation or their arrest or their custody time cannot be made a basis to convict the accused and cannot be admissible. But to answer the Lordship's questions, whether the discovery of facts has not been found in this instant case, because a prosecution has to allege that mere CDR analysis was there to convict the accused. But Your Lordship, mere CDR analysis cannot be made a basis to convict the accused, and this has to be associated with a voice records or any call interception which was not performed out by the prosecution side. And also this cannot this can show that the CTR analysis was I mean whatever the calls has been mentioned in the CTR analysis that has been performed out to to commit the illegal activities. There is no such evidence presented by the prosecution side.
Let's continue.
Much obliged, Your Lordship. uh, Your Lordship, to begin with the last issue, because the time is not allowing, whether the accused can be held guilty of causing the council, as the time is over, the council seek just 2 minutes to just conclude our the last sub issue, the last
Yes.
issue. Much obliged, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, whether the accused can be held guilty of causing disappearance of evidence under Section 201 IPC. In the light of the above mentioned issue, the council respectfully submits that the accused cannot be held guilty causing disappearance of evidence, as the council would like to cite some judgments, a series of judgments which had been held by the Supreme Court of India in Palvinder Kaur versus the State of Punjab, AIR, reported in the year 1952 SC 354, and the Srimati Kalavati and Ranjit Singh versus the State of Himachal Pradesh, AIR reported in the year 1953 SC 131, and Suleiman Mulani and another versus the State of Maharashtra, AIR reported in the year 1968 as the 829. Your Lordship, in the above mentioned cases, for example, in Palvinder Kaur case, the Honorable Supreme Court of India held that in order to establish the charge under the Section 201 of the Indian Penal Code, it is essential to prove that an offence has been committed, the accused knew or had reason to believe that such offence had been committed, and with the intention to requisite the knowledge, with the intent to accused can with intent to screen the offender from legal punishment, has caused the evidence to disappear, has caused the evidence thereof to disappear. Your Lordship, the proof of the commission of offence is an essential requisite for bringing home the offence under Section 201 of the Indian Penal Code, as cited in the decision of Palvinder Kaur versus State of Punjab. Your Lordship, it is pertinent to note that it is necessary to note that the reason for the acquittal under Section 201 of the Indian Penal Code in the above case was that there was no evidence to show that the concerned crime in the above mentioned case has been committed, and therefore the crime was not committed. The accused were not held guilty under Section 201 of the Indian Penal Code.
how do you explain the statement? दुल्हन की विदाई का वक्त बदलना है. सोहेल.
Your Lordship, the दुल्हन की विदाई का वक्त बदलना है. It has been mentioned in the fact sheet, and it was just communicated by Sohail to Kalu, and it was communicated with regard to their release and their upliftment of work that was happening with the oppressed class society, and which government has declared the unlawful assembly. And Sohail has just communicated this दुल्हन का विदाई का वक्त बदलना है in regard to the rallies or the further plan to uplift their movement or the oppressed class society people. It was not intended to commit any terrorist activities or any terrorist gang. Your Lordship, there is no such proof has been mentioned by the prosecution side. Also, in the
Code word used here.
Your Lordship,
Why was the code word used here?
दुल्हन का विदाई का वक्त बदलना है.
Yes.
Yes, Your Lordship. So that was only communicated to Kalu with regard to their release, and it was not communicated to do any illegal activities or commit any terrorist acts, Your Lordship. And in the recent judgments or in the recent legal matters in the Honorable Supreme Court of India, there has been a question of a debate that the sedition law and UAPA Act has been made a basis to convict the accused, and it is used more frequent just to deny the voice of the dissent, raise the voice against the government. So it has been misused a lot of times, and government in the state case also has declared their group as unlawful assembly. That is also not that also doesn't stand any merit in this case. Your Lordship. Your Lordship, if the judges have no further questions, the council would like to begin to come to the prayer.
Yeah, please come.
Yes.
Much obliged, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, whereupon, in the light of the issues raised, arguments advanced, and authorities cited, may this Honorable Court be pleased to acquit Samir, Mono, and Kalu from offences of criminal conspiracy coupled with waging war against the government and concealment to wage war under Section 120B, 121, and 123, respectively. Acquit Samir, Monu, and Kalu from offences of using genuine forged counterfeit currency and under Section 489B and 489C of the Indian Penal Code. Acquit Samir and Kalu from offences of criminal terrorist activities under Section 16, 17, 18, and 20 of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, or declare any order or pass any order as this honorable court deems fit in the interest of justice, equity, and good conscience, all of which is respectfully submitted. And for this act of kindness, the council shall remain duty bound forever. It was pleasure pleading before this honorable court, Your Lordship.
Yes. Any rebuttal from the prosecution?
Yes, Your Lordship. May I proceed?
Yes.
Yes, please.
A rebuttal point from the prosecution side is that how can the opposing counsel prove that the accused were not involved in any activity, even though it has been proved by the prosecution that they were acquainted with and working in the same organization? There have been instances where white collar organizations are involved in a large scale crime behind the scenes. And also, Your Lordship, as the defense used that they were using the code word just for the normal conversation, but when the terrorist activity execute at the time of the activity was changed. So we are living in a free country and we have right to freedom of expression, so they can conduct the rally with some normal conversation also. So what was the need to use such a wage statement?
With due permission of this honorable court, the counsel would like to answer the rebuttal questions.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Your Lordship, as the first question was raised by our opponent counsel, that there was there is no proof to show the unlawful activities I performed. Uh, there was no any act to show the lawful activities, and it was an unlawful activities. In light of the above question, it is humbly submitted that there is the council agrees that the FICN was recovered by the defense side, so by the accused, but there is no any association of weapons or any arm or any which can put the entire country in danger, and which can prove that this can be made a basis to convict the accused under terrorist act or under UAPA Act 1967. And in light of the second question asked, that code word might not have been used in casual conversation for the release. Your Lordship, it is respectfully submitted that Article 19 of the Indian Constitution provides us the freedom of speech and expression, which can be at any time can be used without prejudicing the integrity, sovereignty, and security of India. They can use any code word while dealing with their work or any activity. There is no bar from the Constitution which can stop us from doing so.
But in this context, how are you denying the use of this code word? In any context, it's okay. How in this context, where fake currencies were discovered, the chain of evidence is linking, there's a connectivity.
Your Lordship, government, Your Lordship, government has declared that group unlawful assembly, but that is Sohail was so moved, Sohail was so moved that he called Kalu, and he just communicated that दुल्हन का विदाई का वक्त बदलना है, and it was only for in reference to their common activities which was in furtherance to commit the lawful activities in regards to the uh, upliftment of the oppressed class society, and it was not intended to commit terrorist activities, as there is no weapon or any harmful behavior was performed, and there is no any uh, proof presented by the prosecution side, Your Lordship.
Yes,
Mere FICN cannot. Yes, Your
any
Lordship.
rebuttal?
Your Lordship, I think there is no sir rebuttal as informed by the, so the council would like to end.
Yes.
Thank you, Your Lordship.
Yes. Prosecution?
Your Lordship, may the prosecution ask for one more rebuttal?
Yes.
As it was clearly mentioned in the statement of Iqbal Khan, prosecution witness 2, that he mentioned that I still remember it was in January 2015 when Samir informed me about the public gathering in which Kallu at the Rit Mama made some balanced remark like India is not being a country of worth living and country of intolerance, and दुल्हन को सजाना पड़ेगा. And he said that Samir told that I could gather his discomfort and surprise towards such a statement of Kallu Mama. So, what is the defense argument regarding this, about the statement like this, that India is not being a country worth living?
With due permission of this honorable court, the council would like to answer the rebuttal question again. Your Lordship, if the court permits.
Yes, sir.
Your Lordship, that was only an allegation made by Iqbal Khan, and it has no basis under any circumstances made to what has been communicated to the police, and there is no such proof from the prosecution side, and and yes, the Iqbal Khan also doesn't have any proof to show that this communication has been entertained there, and this is this was just an allegation, Your Lordship. It has no conviction basis.
Yes, prosecution, how do you link the evidence from Samir to Sohail? The chain of evidences?
Your Lordship, if we see the call records, we can see that Sohail was in constant touch with the Kallu Mama, and it was also investigated that Sohail was in touch with the terrorist organization and used to receive instruction from Pakistan and Bangladesh, and the same he communicated to Samir and Monu for the bomb blast activity in Pulwama. So, from this circumstantial evidences, we can say that he was linked with the terrorist activity.
With the court's permission, the counsel would like to answer opponent's question. Your Lordship, as Sohail was in touch with Lashkar-e-Taiba, but the term itself means that it is Shuddhon ki dunya, and the organization was in deficit of money, and they were in need of money, and they were in contact with other countries as well. But here two countries are mentioned, and they were getting the money as also from them, and those money were in transit with Samir and Monu. And also, Your Lordship, it is not necessary that the money which we get from others are well scrutinized before the passing and before using it. And also, if you see that whether the money was used somewhere, no, it was not used, but it was just in transit, and Kalu asked for the money for their rally, and the code which the opponent council kept on mentioning, that they were saying कि दुल्हन की विदाई का वक्त बदलना है. So, Your Lordship, because
So you are trying to say if the money was in transit, then it was not a crime. If it was prevented from being circulated with the public, then it doesn't constitute a crime. Prevention of a crime. Does it not mean it was a prevention of the crime? Arrest of Samir on the railway station.
Your Lordship, it is not mentioned somewhere in the facts that for what purpose that money was in the
But
possession of the
it
Samir.
was a fake currency that you have admitted.
Yes, Your Lordship, but the initiation from where it has come, it is not mentioned in the fact sheet.
Your
It was
submission,
just
your
Mens
submission
rea.
was, your submission was that the money was to be used for the rally purpose. So at your admission says that the currency is fake. So you are to use the fake currency in the rally.
Your Lordship. Even if the accused used this money in the rally, the mens rea is not there. The intent to do any any illegal act is not there. And it has been proved, even if the opponent counsel says that the CDR establishes the constant touch of Sohail, Kaluk, and Samir and Mono. It was for the rally purpose and for the organizational purpose, and they were into the planning for the same.
And with due permission of this honorable court, the council would like to add on to answer the lordship questions. Your Lordship, the FICN was not associated with any arms, ammunition, or explosive substances, which is not even alleged by the prosecution. And Your Lordship, no recovery as such through international checks, posts, or borders as the FICNs were recovered at New Delhi railway station, and it was not recovered from any illegal border activities or not from any terrorist gang. Your Lordship, there is no prima facie indication that the high-quality counterfeit Indian currency notes has been produced in a foreign country, and this has not been disputed anywhere from the prosecution side. Your Lordship.
But it was a fake currency.
Your Lordship, it
Yes.
was.
In addition to that, Your Lordship, in the statement made by the Kalu and Samir, it is clearly mentioned that they didn't know that what money they were carrying was fake or not. They did not have the idea about the money being faked. Also,
So,
Your Lordship,
so how do you destroy? How do you destroy mens rea from this case? Mens rea from your accused case.
Your Lordship, the whole investigation process is based on the mere assumption of the Mr. Akas and Mr. Rupinder, Superintendent of NIA, and during the investigation process only they have pressed the charges. But the FIR was for the mere possession of the fake currency. And as per the statements made by the later on by the Monu Samir, that they did not know whether what money they were carrying was fake or not, as they were also getting money from other countries across the countries. It is clearly mentioned in the exhibit, Your Lordship. And so
Your Lordship,
mens rea was there, but not for the illegal act, but for the organizational purpose only.
Prosecution has something to say.
Yes, Your Lordship. May the prosecution begin? As it is clearly mentioned that they received the instruction from Pakistan and Bangladesh with a blast code, दुल्हन को सजाने का वक्त आ गया है, and blast as soon as FIC and currency reached Pulwama. Also, Your Lordship, as soon as the Samir and Monu arrested, Peter ran away. So, what is the reasoning behind that? As soon as Monu and Samir were arrested, Peter ran away from his home, and also, Your Lordship, they were knowing each other from last 6 years. So how is it possible that they had no idea about from which group they are belonging? And as the defense told that Lashkar-e-Taiba is a reputed organization or something like that, so it is very easy that behind such a good name any wrong thing can happen. So I don't know how defense is telling that they received the only currency from the Pakistan and Bangladesh, and it is for a good purpose when they received it with a blast code. दुल्हन को सजाने का वक्त आ गया है.
Yes. And how? Yes. You want to rebuttal?
yes, Your Lordship.
Yes.
Your Lordship, just the counsel would like to ask the opponent counsel that who has disclosed this statement. It was disclosed by the accused. So whatever has been disclosed by the accused, that might be in a fear or in the unreasonableness of the mind before the police officer. And any statement disclosed by the accused before the police officer cannot be made a basis to convict the accused, and there is no admissibility in such cases. Thank you, Lordship.
In addition to that, Your Lordship, it was disclosed by the Monu at the very initial stage of the investigation, which cannot be weighed as a very big evidence for the case.
Now, how does the prosecution explain the destruction of evidence by Kalu Mama?
Your Lordship, as my as the defense said that the statement was made at a very initial stage, but it doesn't mean that this can be a basis to say that the statement is not correct. Also, Your Lordship, the accused is charged with under Section 121, that is waging of war. So, as per my knowledge, just the attempt to wage a war is a crime in itself. So, how the defense say that they don't have the means?
How does the prosecution conclude that there was an attempt to wage a war?
Your Lordship, they were caught with fake currencies, and also they were on the way to give it to the Peter at Pulwama for the purpose of a bomb blast on Indian Army. So to do blast on the Indian Army is itself a waging war against the nation.
Any communication between Peter and the connection Peter?
Sorry, Your Lordship.
I'm asking, was there any communication or any evidence that says that the money was to go to Peter for this bomb blast?
Your Lordship, as per the call record evidences, we can say that they were in constant touch with each other during all this circumstances, and that they were on their way. They told that they were on their way to give this money to Peter in Pulwama.
So, is this the only concrete evidence with the prosecution?
And also, Your Lordship, the fake currency which the prosecution, which the police received, were kept in a very secret cavity of the bag. So, what was the purpose to keep that currency in that manner?
And how has the prosecution inferred the planning for the bomb blast?
Pardon, Your Lordship.
How has the prosecution inferred the planning? How have you come to the conclusion that they were planning for a bomb blast? How has the prosecution come to the conclusion that they were planning for a bomb blast?
Your Lordship, the currency carrying by the Monu and Samir were the fake currency. So it was clear. It is very clear that it was not to raise fund for any good purpose. But they can't use that fake currency for that any good purpose. And it was just a way to carry forward the message that as soon as it will reach to Peter, Peter will carry on with their planning of the bomb blast.
That is the question. How do you conclude that Peter will be is indulged in bomb blast? That is the question.
Then Your Lordship, counsel plead ignorance.
Your Lordship, the CDR
May
was
the
the only
counsel?
incriminating material.
Let the prosecution complete first.
Yes.
Your Lordship, this CDR was the only incriminating material collected by the prosecution side, whereas they never came with the proof that the SIM cards were on the name of the accused. Also, the identification of voice was not done, and no certificates were produced by the prosecution for the same.
Now, kindly allow Speaker 1 from the prosecution to
Yes.
for the rebuttal.
Much obliged, Your Lordship. The as the opponent counsel said that there was no identification of the SIM card on the name of the accused. If the accused can plan, as proved by the counsel before, if the accused can plan from the bomb blast, they can easily steal or can acquire any other SIM card for the use of it, because they will not use their own name for the bomb blast, because it is a point of national security. no one will use their own name. It is a basic thing that will happen definitely for making sure to leave no evidences behind to cover the act.
Yes, please.
It is very, your lordship, it is very practical and very illogical that whatever impractical and illogical whatever the prosecution one has said, because the SIM card can be bought only from one Aadhaar card, and all the Samir and Monu were held with the possession of Aadhaar card also. So they had just one Aadhaar card, and so how come they are using multiple SIM cards? And also, if they had other SIM cards also, then how come you're relying upon the CDR for the other SIM cards, which for which the records have been accumulated by the police?
To add on the council seeks permission of this honorable court. Also, the council would, if the court permits,
Yes, yes, please.
also the council would like to draw the attention of judges in the lucena that has been left by the prosecution side. The bench may refer para 17.30, 17.35 of the fact sheet, that it says that CFL says no, CFL says notes are of high quality, but there were no any clarification or explanation were given by the CFSL. So it requires some genuine investigation about that why explanation was not given and why that clarification was not presented by the CFSL, Your Lordship.
But the prosecution has not yet been able to satisfy the court that how bomb blast was concluded in the entire case. If you can, you have last 5 minutes. Prosecution.
Any submission?
Yes, Your Lordship. May I proceed?
Yes, please.
Your Lordship, firstly, I will like to draw your attention on the statement of the Kallu Mama, where he said that the organization with which they were working was the government used stringent policies to put sanction upon the working of organizations. So it is very clear that the organization with which they were working was involved in some unlawful activities, and that's why the sanction was put over it. And uh, he mentioned that on 15th of January 2015, Sohail called me and said there is some conspiracy to disrupt the plan, and stated दुल्हन की विदाई का वक्त बदलना है, and asked him to calm down and said nothing would happen as he could focus on the rally. From this statement, it is clear that there was something they planned on 15th of January, and regarding that they used this code word दुल्हन की विदाई का वक्त बदलना होगा.
So this is the only this is the only statement on which the prosecution has concluded a bomb blast, planning for a bomb blast, and invoked the Unlawful Activities Act.
Your Lordship, to add on with my co-counsel, we can clearly see the chain of events that is happening. At first the arrest of Samir and Monu, and there were more evidences which were stated in the arguments before. At first the arrest of Samir and Monu, then absconding of Peter, dying with the poison at the hospital immediately after the arrest, and also both of them were asked for carrying this huge consignment of the fake currency note. Also, if the fake currency, first of all, the fake currency note cannot be used for the rally if it is a fair rally that is happening in the country, because everyone has the freedom and can go for the rally. but these fake currencies were carried out. Also, they were kept in a secret cavity. If the defense would put an argument that the money can be stolen or taken away by the any person out there in the train or platform, they have kept it in a secret cavity. What was the use of keeping fake currency note in the secret cavity? There was no use to put it. Also, it was asked to them to deliver to the Peter. Also, in the point 17.15 of the proposition, it is stated that the accused Monu admitted his involvement and also disclosed the other names, that Kalumama and Peter and Sohail. He also informed about Kalumama had instruction from Pakistan and Bangladesh with the blast code. If they are talking about the freedom of speech for the blast code cannot be used for the freedom of speech because it is against the national security threat. Also, the Peter had been killed by other, maybe Peter, there could be any possibility that Peter had been killed by the other accused, so there could be no proof left that whom to the fake currency note would be delivered. This is not yet proved. Or also, all these chain of events clearly states that there was unlawful activities.
And who was arrested first, Monu or Kalumama? Who was first arrested, Monu or Kalumama?
Monu was arrested first.
Monu was arrested. And he mentioned about Sohail and Peter
Yes, Your Lordship.
at the blast code. Right. And then
Yes, Your Lordship.
Kalumama was arrested and he mentioned about Sohail and दुल्हन को सजाने का वक्त आ गया है. So is the prosecution relying on this? I think the time is up now.
Your Lordship, just
Yes.
I request
just last 1 minute. Just last 1 minute. The story was good. Yeah. Just 1 minute.
we have to take permission from the
Your Lordship, just
Yes,
1
please,
minute.
please, take
Okay.
The report of currencies being faked was not, I mean, it was preliminary report, and also the examination for the same was random examination. Then how come the prosecution is relying upon the random examination and preliminary report of the notes being faked, and upon that they are relying upon the chain of examination? Yeah, chain of the circumstances which happened there,
Yes, we have
mainly on the
understood.
basis of preliminary report and random
Speaker, we have understood your point. I'm very sorry. The time is very limited for this for the slot, so they have to move forward.
We wind up.
I think we.
I have a request to learned judges and the team members that before winding up this, that the procedure for winding up will be the first student will going to leave this class, this session first, and then after the judges will leave.
Okay. Thank you to all of you and all the best. You all are very bright.
Much thank you, Your Lordship.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was indeed a pleasure appearing before your lordships.
Yes,
Thank you, Your Lordship.
Thank you, Lordship.
Thank you, Lordship.
So I request students to leave first.
थैंक यू सो मच निकिता जी एंड मुदित जी से अभी फोन पे ही बात हुई थी, कल्पना पांडे या
Yes, ma'am.
बहुत अच्छा लगा, आप लोगों ने बहुत क्यूरियोसिटी के साथ
Very
ज्वाइन
nice
करा.
opportunity, ma'am. Being a young lawyer, बहुत अच्छा लगा, मैम. बहुत एक opportunity, बहुत अच्छी opportunity थी. निकिता मैम तो काफी.
And I am grateful Narendra Sharma ji who has given your number, sir. और निकिता जी को तो सब जानते हैं, डांट मार के रख देती हैं. अभी हम लोग कैमरा के लिए बोल रहे थे, इन्होंने उल्टा से हम लोगों को डांट दिया.
Sorry.
निकिता जी हमें डांट दिया उल्टा.
अरे नहीं, डाटा नहीं. एक्चुअली ना वो सब देख रहे थे स्क्रीन पे, तो मुझे रियलाइज हुआ आपने 5 मिनट बोला तो.
We all are advocate colleague and now from today it is decided that Nikita will never tolerate any adverse thing.
Sorry. I'm really sorry.
मुझे जी ने अच्छी ट्रेनिंग करी, मजा आया. मुझे जी आपकी बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करती हूँ मैं. आपका आपने रिक्वेस्ट एक्सेप्ट करी और आपने ज्वाइन करा सर. एंड आई होप
मेरे लिए बहुत अच्छी opportunity कि आपने एक मौका दिया. Being a young lawyer.
And I'm very thankful to Narendra Sharma ji also. Please
I'm
come to my
thankful to the
conference.
entire team, especially
Yes.
Redhiba, younger one.
Please share your mark sheets And I hope you both have enjoyed the session.
I enjoyed it. Very surprised.
Thank you so
Happy
much.
Navratri to all of you. आज अष्टमी है. Happy अष्टमी, दुर्गा अष्टमी to all of you. ठीक है. दुर्गा दिख रही है मेरे पे स्क्रीन पे.
आज तो मैं दुर्गा का रूप लेके बैठी भी हूँ यहाँ पे. बार खोल के एकदम जय माँ दुर्गे.
और इसने अचानक बैठा दिया. मैं तो नॉर्मल ड्रेस में आई थी, मैं काम करने आई थी, इसने मुझे बैठा दिया.
Thank you so much, Madhur ji. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nikita. Okay.
Thanks.
Please share your mark sheets.
Yeah, sure.
या तो ग्रुप में डाल सकते हो आप, स्कैन करके या फिर ईमेल कर दो. इट्स बेटर कि आप ग्रुप में डालो.
मैं ग्रुप में डाल देती हूँ, अभी डाल देती हूँ.
Thank you.
जा ही नहीं रहे.
अच्छा हो गया दोनों देखो.
Thank you, Nikita ma'am. Thank you for being a nice co-judge.
It was nice. It was very nice being with you. Thanks.
Thank you.